She said she needs space. And now you're sitting with your phone in your hand, reading those 4 words over and over, trying to figure out what they actually mean. Is it over? Is it a test? Does she want you to fight for her or give her exactly what she asked for? Is this a door closing or just a door going quiet for a while? I know that spiral, and I want to give you the clearest, most honest answer I can, because those 4 words mean very different things depending on the situation, and knowing which one you're dealing with changes everything about how you respond. Today, we are decoding one of the most anxiety-producing phrases in modern relationships, not with false reassurance, not with toxic optimism, but with the kind of honest analysis that actually helps you figure out what is going on and what to do about it. Let's get into it. But before we begin, please subscribe to ensure that you never miss out on any of my videos. Before we get into the 4 distinct things "I need space" can mean, I want to acknowledge something. The fact that you're here, the fact that those words hit you hard enough to go looking for answers, tells me something about you. It tells me you care, that you are not the kind of person who shrugs this off and moves on without thinking. And while that quality can sometimes make situations like this more painful, it is also the quality that makes you capable of real, deep connection. It is worth keeping. But caring needs to be channeled into something useful. So, let's talk about what "I need space" can actually mean, and more importantly, how to tell the difference. The first meaning: she is genuinely overwhelmed and needs room to breathe, and it has very little to do with you. This is more common than people realize, and it is the version that is most often misread as rejection. Some people, and this applies across genders, but for the purposes of this video we are talking about women, have a genuine need to withdraw when life gets heavy. Not from the relationship specifically, from everything. Work stress, family pressure, internal processing that requires quiet, a sense of being spread too thin and needing to contract temporarily in order to restore. For these people, asking for space is an act of self-awareness and self-care, not a signal about the relationship. The relationship might be completely fine. She might be more invested in it than she's been in anything in years, but her nervous system is at capacity, and adding the emotional weight of maintaining connection, texting back, being present, managing another person's feelings, is more than she can hold right now. The signs that this is what's happening. The request for space came after a period of visible stress in her life. She was already quieter or more withdrawn before she said it. The request was gentle rather than cold. She said it with care, maybe even with some guilt. She did not list grievances about you or the relationship when she asked, and crucially, she asked for space rather than ending things, because she does not want to end things. She wants room. The right response to this version is the simplest and also the hardest. Give her what she asked for. Not with passive aggression, not with a final message designed to make her feel guilty for needing it, not with a wounded silence that communicates your hurt so loudly that she spends her space worrying about managing you. A clean, warm line response. Something like, "Of course, take the time you need. I'm here when you're ready." And then you go live your life. Genuinely, not as a performance of being unbothered, actually unbothered, because you trust what you have enough to let it breathe. The man who can do that, who can give space without punishing, without panicking, without making her feel that her need for restoration is a burden, is the man she comes back to. The second meaning: something is wrong between you, and she does not yet have the words or the clarity to say what it is. This version is harder to sit with, because it means there is something to address, but you cannot address it yet because she herself has not finished processing it. She knows something feels off. She knows she is not fully okay, but she has not yet arrived at the specific, articulable truth of what is bothering her, and she needs time and space to get there. Asking for space in this situation is not an exit. It is a processing request. She is not running from the relationship. She is trying to figure out what she needs from it, and she cannot do that clearly when she is inside the constant contact and emotional field of the connection itself. The signs this is what's happening: there has been tension recently, even if nothing explicit was said.
She has seemed a little less present, a little more distant for some time before the request. The space request felt like it came from somewhere specific, even if she could not name it. She may have said something like, "I just need to think," or "I've been in my head a lot," alongside the request. The right response to this version requires a little more than the first. You still give her the space. That part is non-negotiable regardless of which version you are dealing with. But before you go fully quiet, it is appropriate to leave one door gently open. Something like, "I hear you. Take the time you need. And when you're ready to talk, I want to understand what's going on for you." That last line is important. It signals that you are not just waiting for her to come back and pretend nothing happened. You are willing to have the real conversation. You are not afraid of it. Then, and this is crucial, you do not bring it up again. You do not send a follow-up 3 days later asking if she's figured out what she needed to think about. You gave her the door, now you let her walk through it in her own time. The quality of your patience here is itself part of the answer to whatever she is trying to figure out about you. The third meaning, she is testing, consciously or not, whether you will respect her needs or override them. I want to be careful with this one because the word testing gets used in ways that can make women sound manipulative. That is not what I mean. What I mean is this. Some people, particularly people who have been in relationships where their needs were dismissed or overridden, ask for space in part because they want to know whether this person will be different. Whether saying, "I need room," will be met with respect or with pressure. Whether their stated need will be taken seriously or argued with. This is not a game. It is a legitimate and often unconscious assessment of safety. Because a person who cannot respect a request for space when things are relatively okay is almost certainly not going to respect more significant boundaries later. And on some level, she knows that. The signs this is a factor, she has mentioned in the past feeling controlled or not listened to, either in this relationship or in previous ones. She seemed to be watching your reaction when she said it. There was a quality of waiting in how she asked, like she was bracing for an argument. The response to this version is exactly the same as the response to the first. Give her what she asked for, warmly and without drama. Because whether this is partly about seeing how you respond or entirely about a genuine need, the answer is the same. Respecting the request is the only correct move. Any other response, arguing, negotiating, guilting, over-explaining, confirms the fear that prompted the request. Meeting it cleanly and confidently confirms the opposite, that you are someone whose word can be trusted, that a need, stated clearly, will be honored. That is enormously attractive, and it is the foundation of genuine trust.
The fourth meaning. She is beginning to disengage. And the space request is a soft signal before a harder one arrives. I said I was going to be honest with you, so here is the honest version. Sometimes "I need space" is the beginning of the end. Not always, not even usually, but sometimes. And pretending otherwise does not help you. It just delays the clarity you need. The signs that this may be what's happening? The request came out of nowhere without any preceding stress or tension in her life. Her communication had already been fading for some time before she said it. The words were delivered with a flatness or a finality that felt different from the other versions, less conflicted, more decided. She did not express sadness about needing to ask. She may have become somewhat formal or distant in how she phrased it, and perhaps most tellingly, when you search your honest memory of the past few weeks, you already knew something had shifted. You were already feeling it. The request just named it. If this is the version you are dealing with, the response is the same as the others. You give her the space, but you give it with a different internal orientation. Not with hope that patience will fix what was already fading, not with strategies to win her back during the silence, with the genuine willingness to let the outcome be what it is. Because the only thing that could bring her back, if this is where things are, is you becoming someone different. Not performing being different, actually being it. And that kind of change
if it is needed, requires you to be honest about what has not been working, rather than spending the space trying to manage her perception of you. And if it does not come back, if the space becomes a goodbye, then you will have conducted yourself with dignity. You will not have begged or pressured or made her feel guilty for knowing what she needed. And that matters, not just for this situation, for your own sense of who you are. Now I want to talk about the single worst response to "I need space," because it is also the most common one, and understanding why it is wrong will help you avoid it instinctively. The worst response is the one that makes the space about you. It looks like launching into a long message about how hurt you are, asking repeatedly for clarification about what specifically she means, telling her you do not understand what you did wrong, and listing the ways you have been a good partner. Checking in every 2 days to see how she's doing, when what you actually mean is, have you finished needing space yet? Going quiet, but in a way that is so obviously wounded that the silence itself becomes a form of pressure. All of these responses have one thing in common. They redirect the focus from her need to your discomfort. They take her statement, "I need space," and respond to it with, "But what about how I feel about you needing space?" And that redirection, however understandable it is emotionally, communicates something that undermines everything. It communicates that your anxiety is more important than her request, that her needs are things she has to justify to you before you will honor them, that space is something she must earn through a sufficient explanation, rather than something you extend freely as a basic form of respect. The man who can receive "I need space" and respond to it with grace, warmly, cleanly, without drama, is the man who demonstrates in that one moment that he is secure enough to prioritize her well-being over his own anxiety. That security is deeply attractive. It is also deeply rare, and in most cases, it is the single most effective thing you can do for the connection, regardless of which of the 4 versions you are.
So let's bring this together into something practical. When she says she needs space, here is the framework. Step 1. Do not respond immediately. Give yourself 20 to 30 minutes before you say anything. Not to be strategic, to let the initial emotional spike settle enough that you can respond from your grounded self rather than your frightened one. Step 2. Send one response, not a paragraph. 1 to 3 sentences. Something warm, something clear, something that honors the request without making her feel guilty for asking. Of course, take the time you need. I'm here when you're ready. Or if you sensed version 2, something deeper is wrong, I hear you. Take the space you need, and when you're ready, I genuinely want to understand what's been going on for you. Step 3. Go live your life. Not as performance, actually. Fill the space with the things that make you feel like yourself, your friends, your interests, your work, your physical health, whatever brings you back to who you are when you are not orbiting someone else's emotional state. This is not a tactic to make her miss you, it is the right way to spend time that belongs to you. Step 4. Do not reach out again unless significant time has passed or she has made contact first. What counts as significant depends on the relationship, but as a general guide, if 2 weeks have passed with no contact at all, a single low-pressure message checking in is reasonable. One message, not a series, not an escalation, a door left ajar. And step 5, when she does come back, and in most cases, if this is version 1 or 2, she will, come back as the person you were in step 3. Not wounded, not with stored grievances about the difficulty of the silence. Present, grounded, genuinely glad she is there, and ready to have whatever conversation the space was preparing for. 4 meanings, 1 framework, and 1 underlying truth that holds across all of them. The quality of your response to "I need space" reveals something about you that goes much deeper than this single situation. It reveals whether you can hold your own emotional state without requiring her to manage it, whether you can prioritize someone else's stated need over your own discomfort,
Whether you are secure enough in yourself and in what you bring to a connection that you do not need constant proximity and reassurance to feel okay. Those qualities, that groundedness, that emotional security, that capacity to love with open hands rather than clenched ones, are not just the right way to respond in this moment. They are the foundation of every strong, lasting, genuinely loving relationship. They are worth building, not for her, for yourself. Because the man who has them moves through every relationship and every difficult moment within one with a clarity and a dignity that most people spend their whole lives trying to find. That's Love Decoded. Drop a comment below. Have you been through this? What happened when she asked for space? What did you do and how did it turn out? I read every single comment and I genuinely want to hear your story. If this gave you some clarity, subscribe. We put out a new video every week that decodes the moments in love and dating that leave most people completely lost. Share this with someone who needs it right now, and I will see you in the next one.